Welcome. You are listening to the Travel. Welcome. You are listening to the Travel Winds, hosted by Pete Kotzbach. This is a weekly interview show about people who travel for work and all the ups and downs that go along with it. Here we go.
Welcome to the Travel Winds podcast.
Aloha.
My guest today is Kapali Long.
Aloha. How are you?
Super excited. Singer-songwriter, country, Hawaiian. How else do you describe yourself? Blues, yeah.
Yeah. So I say I'm a Hawaiian country bluesman. You know? So
how's that go over?
People go, they kind of give me a questionable look, and then they think about it, and then I teach them a little bit about the history of Hawaiian slide guitar and its influence, and then they go, oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So not quite the overnight success. How long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this. I've been playing piano since I was 3, but I moved to LA the day after I turned 18, and I'm 31 now. So it's been, I think, about 13 years.
Give or take,
on and off.
How many different places have you been to so far?
Oh, I'd say about 40 different states, and not enough of the world.
Not enough, I hear you.
Yeah, but yeah.
What's your favorite place so far to have played?
My favorite place so far really has been Nashville.
Okay.
In the continental U.S. You know, truly. And honestly, my favorite show that I've ever played was at Whiskey Jam in Nashville. They put together such a great showcase, but the feeling of music is so alive there and when you're a songwriter, your words are heard in that city, and it means a lot. So, Whiskey Jam.
Nashville's a crazy town, and I've had a few guests on. If you've never been to Broadway and ever seen live music on 3 floors of the same building going on at the exact same time at 11 in the morning, it's kind of a weird, like you walk down, you're like, I hear that. That.
It's a trip.
Yeah. I
love that city because of that. The first time I went to the city, I didn't get it. I'll admit, I didn't get it. And then as my journey into music as a full-time occupation and career, I realized the beauty of that city and how its music is always alive there.
Yeah.
In a lot of cities nowadays where it used to be a music city, there used to be a bunch of shows, ain't there no more. And it's still there in Nashville. I think what you're saying can be a lot, because when you walk down Broadway, you got 4 levels of bands and stuff, but I'd played South by Southwest, I think, like 6 years in a row, all self-booked on my own. And when you're at South by in Austin, bro, it's like that. It's wild. You know, you got music every floor. There's like Odessa and then Staple, just the craziest people everywhere, you know? So it blew my mind, and it helped me kind of take the bull by the horns a little bit when it comes to anxiety and noise.
I was going to say, you know, I'm sure that environment has ruined some people, where you sit there and you go, okay, like if you're on an island, you're kind of the big fish in a small pond, right? But you go to Nashville, all of a sudden, like, oh, my waiter is a better singer. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Everybody plays or sings.
Everyone
almost
does.
Literally.
Truly. And that makes you better. That makes you better there.
And it can also, if your
Yeah.
mentality isn't ready for it, you can kind of go, oh my God, maybe I'm not that good.
Well, then maybe that was
meant to be.
Yeah. That's sometimes I think, you know, like they say, if music and entertainment was easy, everyone would do it. I mean, I've given up a lot of moments in my life, and birthdays and holidays, and the fact that I'm married and I have a wife that wants to go through this with me is amazing. You know,
it's a whole nother subject, right?
Yeah, it is. But at the same time, it's like you need that type of love and foundation supports art and makes music, or else it's just a piece of a gear in the machine, you know, which isn't a bad thing. You know, we all need to pay bills, but
interesting. For my day job, I go to Hawaii, and I always tell people, they're like, you sell Western clothing on the islands? I'm like, you guys have no idea. And I always tell the story. I go, when Hawaii was annexed into the United States in 1950, Parker Ranch was the largest single cattle ranch in the United States.
There you go.
That's on the Big Island.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally the whole center of the Middle Island, basically.
Yeah, I tell people that, and I think still till today, it's like, the largest ranch in the continental U.S.
Not single,
right?
because the Parker family broke it up.
Ah.
But it's still there, but now it's split up into different families.
But the property itself, right?
It's still there.
Wild, you know, and that's what I tell people. And I also have a lot of friends where they're like, you know, that old Hawaiian music, they go, oh, it sounds country. Well, it's like the vaqueros came there, you know, in like the 1800s and brought ranching and taught a lot of the Hawaiians how to be a cowboy, you know what I mean? And so that lifestyle has always been there. A lot of the roads on Kauai and a lot of other islands are still one road in, one road out. You know, so it's like
and full of chickens,
full of them, just saying good morning.
Bird rooster.
Yeah,
right. I mean, it's why is it mainly just on Kauai?
You know, I think
there's roosters on the Big Island, but not. I mean, they're not like everywhere.
You know, I just think it's the beauty of it. They're all over. But even on Oahu, in the middle of the city, you'll just see little chickens running on the side of the road everywhere. You know, it's like feels like you're down in like Lawndale or Compton. Sometimes you'll see chickens around because there's ranches in the middle of the city. Yeah.
Yeah, you just wouldn't expect it. And I think when people go to the islands, they just hang out at the beaches.
Right.
You know, and if you drive through, like I went to on the Big Island, I go up to Waimea, where the Parker Ranch store is and all that, and then I went up north and all the trail rides and all the ranches that are up there, and you're just like, it's beautiful. But a lot of people just stay down on the beaches. Right, and
it's because it's kind of like Hollywood, you know, or that California state of mind where people aren't from California and then they come to California and they bring such a rude intention, you know, with sometimes what they do. And I think that it's kind of like that in Hawaii. They go to Hawaii with this thought of what it is, but they don't know what it truly is, you know, or where she came from, you know, what the islands have gone through to be what they are.
And they're still growing.
Oh, they are literally still growing. Yeah. But the people and the Hawaiian people are still strong as ever before, if not more, you know, and I think that's the beauty of it is you've got younger generations of Hawaiians, Kanaka Maoli like me, and others that are proud now and want to help spread the influence of what Hawaiian culture dropped onto the world. And that's aside from like the, you know, cowboy culture in Hawaii, you know, it's that music that's why that ranching lifestyle, like music was always there. That 6-string, we had 5-piece bands doing upright bass and mandolin and banjo in the latter 1800s before places in America ever had bluegrass, you know?
That's cool.
So it's like, that's why we sound country. It was country before they ever put a label on it, you know?
But, excuse me, you're not red dirt country.
No.
How do you describe your...
It's almost more like Americana country. Yeah. I'd say like, I mean, it's just as much country as some might say Sheryl Crow's music is country.
Yeah,
you know,
that's a good one.
But it's also just as country as like some of the most country Jason Isbell records are, and he's considered Americana. You know, so I think it's the intention of the people and the stories that you're telling that make it country.
Yeah, you know? There you go. I like that.
So for mine, before it used to be about love a bunch and I realized that's such an easy thing to write about and the lack thereof. And then my whole family has gone through this thing where my grandmother and grandfather raised me early on in the younger years. And I just recently lost my grandmother. And that has absolutely changed everything of who I am as a person and what I do for music and my intention now. So
I think that the cool thing about being a singer-songwriter is something happens in your life and you can sit there and work it out.
Yeah.
The negative is if it becomes a hit,
it's there every day.
And then maybe will that diminish what the song means to you if you have to sing it every single time you go out? You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, and I've thought about that lately because I have a song that's gonna come out called "One More Night," and that's in a few months. It'll come out, and it's about like one more night with my grandma. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Essentially, but it's for everybody. I'm sure everyone in the world has that one person that's gone that they wish they could simply just have one more night, one more conversation, you know? And I think that is, that's the driving factor. But as I used to just cry trying to sing the song.
That's what I'm saying.
When I first started. And now I don't cry, and it's become, and I do get what you're saying because the words sometimes do feel like they're not truly streamlined from the soul, once you sing it so many times.
Yeah.
But I think our job as a true artist is to be able to streamline it every single time for that person that's listening.
For the first time, maybe.
Yes, because it could be their first time. And our job as artists and songwriters, because I pride singing the songs that I write. That is something that means so much to me, because I'm singing what I don't hear. I'm trying to sing what isn't help. I'm trying to sing songs and make songs that I don't hear that aren't helping me. You know what I mean? It's not out there yet.
I absolutely know.
That's kind of like my mission, you know, like I think there's a Luke Combs lyric where he's like, you know, what's the point of pouring your heart out into a song if you ain't going to sing it, you know? So it's like, I think, you know, I'm going to sing every one, especially the ones that hurt the most, because there's somebody out there. And I still get messages like, I'll probably play that song one more night for you, you know, just for the, sorry for that long-winded answer.
No, that's awesome. Because like, I hear routines, right? He has another song coming out.
Yeah.
I heard the live version at St. Rock, but I was like, that's about an ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
And now you're married.
Yes.
So now you're singing a song about an ex-girlfriend.
And
your wife's got to hear it going, hey, where's my song?
Yeah.
At least my wife would be that way.
No, you know, in the beginning, she really was. And I've said, like, even before, like, you know, those songs don't.
It's such a good song. It's like, you got to sing it. But...
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that song now has become kind of my, like, it's like my country blues song almost. It's a blues song, you know, and it was, and, you know, the song through the years, and I'll perform it, has taken, you know, it's changed, you know, and it's almost like a caterpillar to a butterfly. I think it's like, it's so it's so cheesy to say, but you know, that song first was that, and the lyrics start unfolding as you get older, and as you move into a different section of your life, the lyrics start to manifest into that. And what does it mean to you then? So I honestly, with all the songs that I write, I'm a believer. I believe in God. I also believe that there's something grander than us. I believe that in my traditional Hawaiian type of religion, where I believe in all the different gods from fire and water, and I believe that everything has its own energy. So, but I do believe that, you know, there is a God too. So it's like, how can you believe in all these things? Well, I don't know how I write any of these songs either, but I get them from them. You know, I get them from the universe. And I think that if I just I don't try to put a pin on it. I just simply say thank you and then keep on moving with the songs.
It's kind of like, you know, like Pele.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The goddess of the volcanoes.
Yeah.
You know, and the Pele's hair and all that. Because we experienced that when we went on the Big Island with the volcano. And so I get it. I kind of get what you're saying. Where you're like,
it's alive. Yeah. Things are alive. You know, the mountains.
That island was definitely alive.
Yeah. And if you ever just sit on any island in Hawaii and you sit at about 2 or 3 a.m. and you listen to valleys, they talk.
Oh my gosh.
They talk.
It's crazy how,
you know, so
the animals are kicking.
No, the animals are kicking. The spirits are there. Yeah. The night marchers are marching. I mean, you know, it's like.
But that's, I always tell people, got to get out of Waikiki.
Yes, most definitely.
I mean, even if you just go to the Dole Plantation.
I mean,
you're still out in the middle of nowhere, kind of, you know.
Totally.
North Shore. I mean, go to the windward side, and then Maui, Kauai.
Kulo Ranch, I think, is such a beautiful spot on Oahu too, because like, I mean, obviously they filmed Jurassic Park, but that's country. Yeah. You know, and you can do horseback riding in Kulo Ranch, so that's like so special. I think
that's why I always tell people, like, because it's just like you just said earlier. When I tell people I live in Los Angeles, and they're like, "Oh, you have to be," and I'm like, California's a really big state. Like really big.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of ranches and farms.
Rich history.
From basically from just north of LA all the way up to San Francisco. I mean, it's all farmland.
It's all farmland.
So
people just assume just like Hawaii, beaches and palm trees, they just assume California's is the same. Half of these palm trees aren't even from California.
Oh, more than
you know,
that.
like So it's like, but the ranching and the families that they've been in California forever.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the thing where it's like, people just think it's that Southern California state of mind, but why do you think some of the best country music came from California? Tony Rice, the best flat picker alive, and fight me on that, to ever live, was from California. You know, I mean, shoot, look at that Bakersfield sound.
So the best rodeo guys have been from California, Slowtown, and
you know, so it's not. it's just that West Coast connection, and it's closer for me to get back to my ohana in Hawaii, staying in California. So that's why, people always ask, oh, how come you don't live in Nashville? It's like, well, if somebody hooked me up with a publishing deal, I definitely get an apartment out there, but my family, if I'm going to be a true artist, then I need to be as close to my family as possible, and California is
It's kind of that quandary, right? I mean, I don't think people understand from California, it's 3 hours behind. And then Nashville's 2 hours ahead. So when you go to Nashville, you're 5 hours
from Hawaii.
Yeah, body whack. I mean, just talk about jet lag.
Oh yeah, it's heavy. And I remember there was a moment where I was in California. I did some shows, flew out to Nashville for 2 weeks, came to California for 3 days, went to Hawaii for a month, and then went back to California just to go back to Hawaii after that. And although that was I spent the last 10 days in the hospital with my grandmother, and I got to be there with her. Yeah. So that was
it's worth
the driving factor.
Yeah.
When something so huge in your life is happening, that everything that you thought was going to stress you out means nothing, because it's just simply
all
dirt
relative.
on the side of the road that we need to walk on now, and used to think it was a big boulder, and it's simply just dust.
I've talked to a few guests about it. Like when you look out at the ocean, or you look at the waterfalls or the mountains of Hawaii, they've been there for a really long time, and they're going to be there for a really long time after we're gone.
Yeah.
So why are we getting all worked up over this spot in the world? I mean,
yeah,
it's like de-stress.
Yeah. I just, I think we all just need to realize it's kind of like, remember when we were kids and you had to connect the dots, and then you got this big picture. I think we all just need to figure out what dot we are in that big picture.
I agree.
And then let it just connect. You know what I mean? Like, we can't control what dot we are in the picture of connect the dots,
Yeah.
So we simply just got to be the dot that we were blessed to be,
And just accept that. I mean, that's why I go, God, if I get stressed about money or my job or this or that, that ocean's just going to keep pumping.
Yeah.
Whether I'm stressed or not.
Yes.
Or whether I'm relaxed or not. The mountains, the rivers, they're all just flowing.
Yeah. And that's like maybe the lesson in the land, right?
Yeah.
Is like, despite what troubles are above, it's still there below,
Well, you said, and I don't know, how many times have you flown from Hawaii to here?
Oh man,
right?
A lot. I can't even count.
But you look over that ocean, it hasn't changed.
No.
So you said, I spent a lot of time I always get a window seat.
Oh.
That's just my thing.
Oh yeah, I'm afraid of heights, so I got to sit in the aisle.
So am I, but I don't know why. In the plane, I'm okay.
Mm-mm.
Wow, really?
Yeah, don't fly in the plane with me. I got to be on the aisle, and as soon as they're like, put your shades down, I'm like, put it down. I don't want to have to look at that.
Don't look up.
Yeah, it's bad.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I don't even sit on a Ferris wheel.
See, I can do all that, but like if I get to the Grand Canyon, I get to the edge, I'm like, wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's like Waimea, though. You ever been on the edge of Waimea?
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, but it's
like that, too.
Yeah.
I guess. My ancestors are kind of nurturing me as I stand on that edge, though.
See, but you can do that, but you can't fly in a perfectly good plane.
Yeah, the plane. I'm like, dang, if humans were supposed to fly, I'd have wings on the back of my, it trips me out.
I've talked to a few musicians that don't like to fly, but yet it's part of the job.
Yeah, I drive, though. I'll drive 12 hours just to be on stage for 30 minutes if I need to, but I don't.
Versus flying.
Yeah, I'm cool with driving. I dig it.
But yeah, you have to fly from Hawaii to.
I know there's no driving there, so that's why I drive as much as I can in the States.
That's crazy.
Yeah, one time I recorded a record down in Hermosa Beach, and then another one of those records that aren't out, and I drove. I think I finished at like Monday at 1 a.m. and I got to Austin at Tuesday by 2 p.m. and I just drove straight. Yeah, it was wild, but I've also spent like 6 months on the Amtraks, and I just booked shows across the country and just went on the train.
You're my first guest that said that.
Yeah. I've done that before.
What's that like? What's it like traveling on Amtrak?
It was beautiful. This country is America. Like, people don't realize that the country of America is like, I think not like 3/4 of it, maybe half of it ain't even like developed.
It's wide open.
It's wide open.
A couple of days ago, I just got back from Dallas.
Oh yeah.
And when I fly back, I think the same. I'm like, God, we're all fighting over
small pieces in the city.
And you fly for 4 hours, 3 hours. And you're looking at dirt for 99% of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, and
but
it's
dirt.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful land, beautiful places. It makes you wonder, like, is it just federal land? Like, what are they doing with it? You know, it's like, it's quite interesting. It's some of the land in Hawaii is the same issue, but it's a trip. And then also, some of that land only has train tracks through it. There are no dirt roads, like for miles around it.
Miles.
You see broken down carriages from like, the Old West. Yeah. You see skeletons, of like bison and stuff. Animals, like it's amazing. Yeah. It's actually pretty phenomenal. Window seat in that whole time.
There you go. See ya.
Yeah. I buy a cheap seat and then I go to the cart. There's like that viewing cart where down below has like the drinks and everything. So then I end up just getting like a little nook over there and get all my instruments, and then I end up just sleeping and staying in the viewing cart.
That's cool though.
Yeah. So after a while, when I play lap steel guitar, the traditional Hawaiian style guitar, and people don't even realize that was created in Hawaii.
Now, is that with the slide guitar bottle? Or?
Yeah, with the metal bar. Okay. So that was created in Hawaii. Don't like the specific date. I don't have the specific year, but I would say that it was in like the 1880s, because it was created by this cat named Joseph K. Kuku on the island of Oahu at Kamehameha schools. So, and he was a part of the first graduating class of Kamehameha schools. My great grandfather was in that first graduating class of Kamehameha schools as well. So my ancestor was going to school with the cat who created lap steel. Yeah, it was, the slide guitar is and that sound of slide guitar is actually like in almost every other country song on radio, even till today. And it was created by Joseph K. Kuku, and at the end of the 1800s, and he didn't graduate from Kamehameha. He actually left, because back then it was like, you either played music or you ended up working in like fields too, or you had like a really it was a hard time. So a lot of Hawaiian musicians, or a lot of Hawaiians who played music, went down the path of playing music so that they didn't have to do these heavy jobs. I mean, it's pretty, if you think about it. So, creating lap steel at Kamehameha schools, he then went to all those students that were at Kamehameha at the time when he created steel guitar and slide guitar. They all went to their islands, and then they all started teaching and that's how it spread, But that's like the first graduating class was in 1891, Yeah. So if you think about it,
that's a while ago.
That's a while ago, but it's not that long ago. That still was just territory, and it wasn't a part of America yet. So it's a interesting time in history. So you've got that slide guitar, and then not only that, what people don't realize is that people always just assume, oh yeah, that music came from slide guitar from the blues. Well, no, that was all Hawaiian guitar, because some of the first recorded music was Hawaiian music on those wax cylinders, which went all around the world from like latter, like 1900 through like 1920. That's the influence everywhere. The most popular music all around the world was Hawaiian music, then, which then influenced cats down south to, get, wire from telephone or whatever, and put it on the, and then put it across and make that slide sound that was on that recording from that. It was a Hawaiian guy, It's always Hawaiian artists were doing that.
How did they do it? And they figured it out, and they maybe came up with the glass bottles and.
Well, yeah, whatever they could to do it on their own. But Joseph K. Kuku fashioned a metal bar and metal guitar picks in the latter 1800s in Hawaii first. It's like we wouldn't have metal picks or that bar slide without him, I mean, and I don't even think he's in the Country Music Hall of Fame. Like,
well, maybe he will be after this show.
Exactly. And it's like there's things like that. Like pedal steel, I think, wasn't really created until like 1948, maybe.
Have you ever tried play?
I have, but I play lap steel. So I play lap steel because it's Hawaiian. You know? And I could play pedal steel. My buddies all play, and they always are like, "You have great bar technique." Well, that was our technique. Yeah. So.
But it's the pedal steel, which I never knew until I met a guy that played it. It's knees, feet.
It's hands, knees and benders.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that essence is a killer sound for that sound of bending. But if you think about it, all that country music so now here we go. We're gonna go down that huge tunnel that I always take people down. All that country music from like 1920 through 1948, all was Hawaiian lap steel behind Spanish guitars.
I got you.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So that sound was Hawaiian, you know, but why did the name Hawaiian get dropped off of lap steel, but they leave Hawaiian in front of bread at the grocery stores? You know, it's like, I think that was something that was, almost chosen to be covered up in ways. What an influence that sound was, and beyond. So to the point where it's like, people don't realize that Jimmy Rogers, the king, the father of country music, who from 1920.
Yeah, I know.
So this cat was the king of country music. He was the grandfather of country music. He's the cat who originally sang like T for Texas and T for Tennessee, and a lot of his yodels. So yodeling in country music, although there was yodeling in Europe, Jimmy Rogers had 3 Hawaiian lap steel players, but he had Lonnie McIntyre played some for him. He also had this light-skinned cat named Charles Kama, and at the latter point, and I say about 1928, Jimmy Rogers did some recordings with this other guy named Joseph Ka'aia Kaipo. And in order for Jimmy Rogers to really get to tour the U.S., if he had like brown-skinned men at the time, Hawaiian artists, he had to tour the Chitlin circuit. Yeah. So instead of touring the Chitlin circuit, he'd use them to record, but then he'd yodel. He'd yodel the Hawaiian lap steel lines. Yodel-hee-hoo. And that's Hawaiian lap steel. Those are Hawaiian lines, like melodies. So without Jimmy Rogers, you wouldn't have Gene Autry or Ernest Tubb or Hank Sr., because those 3 artists, for their first 10 years of their careers, only sang Jimmy Rogers. Yeah. I mean,
that's pretty crazy.
It's vast, the influence of Hawaiian music and Hawaiian artists. These were all people a part of the Hawaiian kingdom. It's amazing to me. That is the sound that influenced. I mean, you wouldn't have the yodeling cowboys on television, like Roy Rogers like that. Yeah. It's like, it's a huge cover up to me.
And whether it was intentional or not,
it just happened.
Yeah, well, back then, like you said, dark-skinned people weren't allowed. You couldn't take them on tour. You couldn't.
No.
I mean, that was the way it was.
Yeah.
So even if Roy Rogers or these guys wanted to tour, they couldn't.
Some of them did, though. It's just, I think it was the choice of, sometimes, unfortunately, I think a lot of them did what was easier for them.
Yeah. Well,
which is,
a lot of people do that. Though.
Yeah. The unfortunate, if you can, but some people unfortunately can't. So
some people will always fight, want to fight the good fight.
Yep. So, but it's a beautiful thing to get to show people. And as soon as I tell people like, oh yeah, well, I mean, Jimmy Rogers had 3 Hawaiian lap steel players, and he's yodeling Hawaiian lap steel lines. People go, "Oh my god,
that makes sense."
Yeah, and the amount of light bulbs that I've seen people hit their face, they just freak out. And when I'm home in Hawaii, and I tell people that, I mean, they literally like, "Oh, bro, I got chicken skin already." You telling me this, you know what I mean? So it means a lot to me, to have the platforms and the blessings to get to share these things, Yeah,
that's pretty dope.
Very wild, right? I
see. This is why I have so much knowledge, like just crazy stuff in my head. After interviewing people like you, all of a sudden I'm carrying this around in my head.
It's a beautiful thing to know, because then everything that you listen to in music and all those country songs that have like beach influence feel a little more real now,
Well, because I know Chesney got a lot of grief about kind of not being core country, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But, Gary Allen grew up in Orange County, and Brad Paisley's in Montecito. I mean,
yeah. And I think
there's a lot of country here. We just don't think about it.
And I also think like some of those songs, would you really want that really amazing country song shaped in a room in the middle of, the nowhere down south? Doesn't it feel like it's on a beach? Wouldn't you want that artist to be on a beach trying to create that sound?
Dina Hill, who did Strawberry Wine, and then she wrote You and Tequila.
Yeah.
For Kenny Chesney, because I met her.
Wow.
When it was just coming out.
Wow.
And so that's a whole different story that she could tell a lot better than I did. But, I'm like, well, if you help write the song, why aren't you singing the song? And that gets into the record people and everything else.
That's a whole nother thing. Yeah. I just saw her at, but I saw her in October at the Opry. Because anytime I go, I got to play that Whiskey Jam then, and then I got to do a Monday night at the Bluebird Cafe in Nashville. And then whenever I'm in Nashville and I my sister lives there, and I'll stay with them.
Yeah.
But whenever I'm there, I always buy a single ticket and go to the Opry alone because it's like church to me.
I took my wife there. She didn't want to go at first. I'm like,
Oh.
let's just go. And she's like, oh my God. Because we did the behind the scenes tour, where you get to go through the green rooms and all that. It was pretty neat.
Yeah, that is my dream. That is the dream for me, is to simply, I mean, and everyone.
Did you stand in the circle, or are you waiting?
No, I'm waiting. I'm waiting till I play. I never. No,
I dance in that circle because I know it's never gonna happen for me.
How cool! Yeah, I'm definitely nerding out about that. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my dream. It's my dream to sing a song about my grandmother and to sing a Hawaiian song in that circle.
Oh, that'd be cool too.
That's kind of my dream, and then to.
So if you don't know, at the Ryman, not the Ryman, the Opry, they cut out part of the floor from the Ryman.
Well, I think it's you're right. Part. You're right. It's it was the other way. I think it's at the Ryman.
It was at the Ryman. Yeah.
But they cut a piece of the stage, I think, from Opryland, right?
No.
What's the
where the Ryman is where they used to have the Grand Ole Opry.
Right.
Then they built the new building.
Right, and Opryland. So that circle went to Opryland.
From Ryman over to Opry.
And then they came back.
It was a side stage of Ryman, yeah.
Yeah, and then they brought it back from Opryland after the flood to the Ryman.
Correct. And
so that's wild.
And a lot of singers won't go into the circle until they actually are performing in the circle.
Yeah.
Whereas me, that will never happen. So I didn't mind standing in it.
No, that's still cool. Yeah, I love that story, that it was there, and then they moved it to Opryland. And then after that great flood, they moved that circle back to Ryman.
A lot of singers won't go into it until they're called into it.
I won't. I won't.
It's like the people that won't touch a Super Bowl trophy.
Oh, shoot.
I'm like, I'd sleep with that. Damn, it's never happened for me either. So.
Yeah, me too. Here, bring it on over. But that is, I'd say, my greatest musical dream would be to play the Opry on a Saturday night.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Well, how do we make that happen? How I was going to ask you, how rough is it being an independent artist nowadays? And I say that because there are positives that you can have songs that come out and they're on iTunes and YouTube, and people can find you around the world. But the negative is
they don't know who I am. Yeah. So there's no
A&R. I mean,
there's nobody really pumping it for me. I've gotten blessed with along the way, the major label industry has here and there popped in. Yeah. We know you're here. Yeah. People from Grammy, we know you exist. Just trying to check in. It's like it happens, and that's great. And so now, I've gone through a lot of things people don't realize. Like I've written for a pop producer, and in the early years when I first moved here, and I got my first taste of writing sessions in the LA scene, and it was just eye-opening, and I then A&R shopped me to some television shows, and I kind of went through the ringer on that, and I think all of it didn't happen for a reason, because it wasn't the right time yet for me. I wasn't strong enough. I wasn't ready enough. I wasn't sober enough. I was still a young kid in their 20s,
Yeah.
And now then it's crazy. Married and 31, and finally putting out songs. My thing is I want these songs that I write to help people, and for me to be proud of them in 10 years. And everything that I try to do in music now, I just, I hope that my grandma would love it. Yeah. It's wild.
Well, it's the Coco, right? I mean,
yeah, that's it. That Coco State of Mind.
You have your new single that just came out last week. Go Home.
Go Back, Coco.
Yeah, Go Back, Coco.
And the Coco is Keep On Keeping On, you know? So, because that's kind of the hook in the song, but that's just kind of, and it's always been that state of mind ever since, I've been obsessed with Bob Dylan my whole life. I've always loved his words and his choice of fighting for people that, for the little man. So, but I know that I've seen, there was something in his, he had it written somewhere, just keep on keeping on. And I remember that's where I got it from, was Dylan, you know? So that's why I just keep on.
You got some great lyrics in there, because there's not a lot of country artists that'll bring up Tracy Chapman or Steely Dan or, you know what I mean? Or Prince or.
So that's actually, so the whole song, Go Back is give me 1 second. So the whole song, Go Back, I had written it initially about my mom, because my mom worked in concert production when I was a kid, and you can hear it in the lyrics. My mom's
going backstage,
godfather was Tom Moffett in Hawaii, who did a bunch of concerts, and his partner concert production partner was Shep Gordon. So I like grew up backstage. You'll hear it in the lyrics. It's like let's see. My mama used to take me to work backstage at an Eagles show.
Yeah.
And it's like I was there backstage at the Eagles in Hawaii. Like I just remember there was some disgruntledness, backstage.
Yeah.
And I remember the show being amazing. And like it was 1999 and a Prince was singing all night long. It's like I remember the balloons dropping and the confetti at his show, and it was 99. I remember thinking, why is he saying let's party like it's 99? It is 99.
Yeah.
I don't get this. It was like, but
it came out in the 80s.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. But it's like for me, I was just 9 years old then.
I remember when that song hit, and I'm like, God, 1999, that's so far away.
Wow, wild, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm like sitting there, and it was 99.
Yeah,
going,
that's nutty.
Wild,
That's about the time I saw him too. I saw him at it's not Crypto, but it was Staples Center at the time.
Can we all just agree it's simply going to always be Staples Center? No, I'm kidding.
I'm with you, man. I still call it Jack Murphy Stadium, which is now Qualcomm, I guess.
Oh, wow.
It might be something else. It was where the Chargers used to play in San Diego.
Yeah.
That's where I grew up.
That's like how I still call it the Gibson Amphitheater up there.
Yeah.
It'll forever be that.
Well, yeah, and Irvine Amphitheater, which is now gone, I guess. It was the Verizon Amphitheater.
But if you talk about venues gone, the House of Blues is gone on Sunset.
Yeah, on Sunset.
And I played one of the last shows at the Key Club in Hollywood.
Yeah, cool.
Oh man, back in the day, I think I opened for Ron Pope there. Wow. But it's just like all those pieces of history that make the music that we love.
You're like 31.
I'm 31 because I moved to LA the day after I turned 18.
Yeah.
I graduated high school when I was 16 and a half.
So think what you've gone through in just the last 13 years, right? 12, 13 years. And you're already seeing changes. Now imagine being my age.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I remember this House of Blues before there was House of Blues.
Yeah. I think about that because that's such a trip.
And now it's gone.
And now it's
That's
gone.
weird.
I get reminded that sense every time I'm with my grandfather because the stories he tells of old Hawaii, you know, and it's just, it really puts perspective like, God, why am I stressing out about this? It means nothing.
What's the musical venue in Waikiki that a lot of bands play?
Oh, a lot of people play the Blue Note now.
The Blue Note.
Yeah, I played there a few years ago, and it was awesome. But the Blue Note in Waikiki is kind of the main venue. But back in the day, we had like Pipeline Cafe. I played there a bunch. With all the metal bands I was in, but yeah, there's so many. It's funny. It all just kind of it comes and goes. Some of the places are still here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like the Roxy, I think is still around.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Least.
I just saw a kind of a Beastie Boys cover, kind of not cover, but they're called Joy Valance.
Okay.
Joy Valance and Bray, and they're 22.
Gnarly.
Basically, they took the vibe of Beastie Boys and they do their own lyrics. They're updating all that, talking about Pokemon and that kind of stuff.
Oh my God.
But they just played Roxy. We just saw them there 2 months ago.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I do really enjoy that venue. That I think oh well. Shoot, I had one of my first residencies was at the little venue on the top called On the Rocks.
Uh-huh.
And I used to play there it was like every Sunday and there was a promoter called by the name of Jeff Cahill, and he passed away, but he gave me my residency first shot at playing, and I'd play every Saturday or Sunday on the top venue at the Roxy for like a few months. But I was 21, 22, that was everything to me.
Do you wish you could appreciate? Yeah.
I would, I appreciate that now. I wish I could go back.
That's what I'm saying.
And appreciate just driving in, to the venue and not stressing out about parking or paying, those little things, but it's funny now, looking back, it's like I've done all those solo things. I've even I play lap steel for this one cat named a really good friend of mine named Charlie Overby, and we even at the Sunshine Theater in Albuquerque, we opened for Marcus King, just wild, and that was recent. And when I was 11 or 12, I got into the musical theater, and I used to use that band Carolina Liars, Show Me What I'm Looking For, as my audition song.
Yeah.
Now I'm the piano player and guitarist in that band whenever they tour. It's
so cool.
That's another one of my jobs, but it's all these things, it's like what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Just another thing, a part of the journey. I'm blessed. All of that is like work for me to get to keep music my life, you know?
Absolutely.
So
If Joe Walsh from the Eagles, I saw him in an interview just probably a couple of years ago, and he said a lot of people will go up to him and say, "Hey, you've led such a blessed life, and things have worked out for you so well." And he goes, "Boy, I didn't feel like that when I was going through it."
yeah.
Yeah, it's always easy to look back and go, "I'm here because of that and that and that," but at the time,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I mean, your grandma passing, right?
Yeah.
Who knows what part that's going to be
Yeah.
in your story? But at the time, it sucks. It's horrible.
And I'm still going through it now because I'm still grieving. Like it's only, it only happened on October 24th, and then the burial and everything was like the 16th of November. So it's, it's pretty fresh, but it's made the mission of music so much clearer than ever before.
Yeah.
It's really just a blessing, to still be here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So here's the hard one for you. How's your wife deal with all this?
It's you know what? She's been amazing. She's been amazing because this is not easy. It's not easy to be away from your partner. We have a dog and a cat. We have a lot of life, that we have taken care of. But she's been amazing. And honestly, it's like I was thinking, despite who you love, what sexual preference you have, it's like your partner helps you through the things that you don't even see at that point in time, you know? And it's like, if you're blessed to have somebody who loves you, that wants to be your partner through things, work your ass off to keep them around, I think,
Yeah.
So I know that I need to do better. We all probably need to do better, but I'm so grateful for her.
But I mean, obviously when she met you, you were an artist.
I was a musician.
So
she knew that music was going to be like this.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think anybody prepares for like death in the family or when you got to be away for a couple months at a time, just simply for that. And then to be gone again for 3 weeks for me, work, it's wild. So she's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I truly am so grateful for her.
I always think, because you get to go back to Hawaii, you get to go to Nashville, you're doing this,
Yeah.
Because I feel the same way. Like I'm on the road typically about 100 days a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's on the light side. It used to be more pre-COVID, but
yeah.
Because I don't go to Denver 4 times a year anymore. Our company, we're doing remote sales meetings now.
Oh, there you go.
So that removed 4 trips a year to Denver.
Shout out to Denver. I do dig Denver. My brother lives out there too.
You got to play the Grizzly Rose there.
No.
You should got to hook that up.
That's
the big country bar there.
I'd love to, man. I do love it out there. They got a heavy amount of snow right now too.
Yeah. Well, it usually melts off pretty quick.
Oh wow, I know.
Yeah.
I have one. I got snowed in Boulder once. Wasn't a bad city to be snowed in the early 20s. I won't say. It was pretty good.
College town.
Yeah, it was awesome. I had to cancel a show, but I had all that I needed.
And then some. Well, that's like, have you hit any of the rodeos?
Not yet. That's really, I think my next plan is to try to get a few more songs out, get a good set. I mean, we can play about an hour with some of the Hank Sr. and with when I have my full band, we can play about hour and a half, 2 hours. It's pretty awesome. But we're just trying to get a good amount of songs out and then hit the circuits hard. I'd love to play the rodeos.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Is like back, God, I feel like an old man now. Back in the day, you would release an album, right? 10 to 12 songs, and then you would go tour off that album.
Right.
Now it's like, I notice a lot of artists, like the majority of them, seem to release 1 song, maybe 2 songs, maybe 3 songs.
Yeah.
And then they do it. They'll do a video, which is incredible,
Yeah.
And then do 1 song, and then 2 songs.
And I think
there's no big albums anymore.
That's like as much as we live in this single time, a single town, a single time where you drop a song and you do the work. I mean, also it's like nowadays it's like I'm unsigned, so I have no budget. I just do it all on my own. I have a home studio. Shout out to AEA microphones and Gibson guitars, because Gibson has always been my #1 support. And I just have to say shout out to Gibson because and Ray and Beth and everyone there, because I probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Gibson. Gibson also I like teach on their app. They've helped me.
Oh, nice.
They've helped me be able to stay, stay doing music. So I'm always, forever in debt to JC and Cesar and the rest of the team there. Yeah.
As a musician, are you? This is just. I don't play any music, any instruments at all. My daughter will laugh at me when she watches this. But are you always trying to get better, or do you kind of get? You're like, I'm going to stick within this kind of genre, or you kind of go, how did he? Do you listen to music and go, how did he play that, and you go home and figure it out?
Yes, I do. But okay. I'm also like I'm like a weird percentage of people where it's like I can hear something and I can tell what gauge string it is, what kind of guitar, what pickup, what voicing, what shape of the chord, what, like I can hear all of it. I practice every day.
My daughter's kind of like that.
I listen to metronomes just to simply get a good relationship with the time. I mean, I practice to the click at 60 BPMs because it's the same as the wall clock so that I can lock in with time anywhere. Like, I'm wild about that because shouldn't we be? Like, if we get to play music and play music, really, this is our work. Yeah. Shouldn't we work to just simply be the best version of that as possible? And I think that's how I am with guitar. I didn't go to school for guitar, but I became a guitar teacher. Oh, guitar was just my life, It was my best friend growing up.
How big is of a difference does it make between the acoustic and electric?
Huge difference in the sense that people take this overly heavy hand of playing acoustic over to electric when electric really is very light. The style of picking and playing on electric guitar is, I think, tenfold lighter than when you play on acoustic. It's different techniques, and it's very like the shapes of chords and everything, but I approach it differently because you have to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. When in routines, you have that middle section, kind of the solo, I guess, and you're doing things that I don't typically see, especially in country.
Yeah,
that's more bluesy kind of.
Yeah, it's like that blues. It's very much like it's very much down the line of like Marcus King, how he does that. It's very guitar-driven country. Brad Paisley is very guitar-driven country.
He's insane on the guitar.
Amazing, and people like even don't want to say it sometimes because why? Because he's good-looking, gentleman. But like Keith Urban is a beast on guitar.
He's crazy. Dude.
Beast.
Did you ever watch the Crossroads he did with John Mayer?
Yes, killer. It was such a great one. Yeah. That's another dream of mine, hitting crossroads on something. But it's like, who would I cross with? I cross with everything already.
I was gonna say,
it's like, so it's like, would I be on the CMT side or would I be the cross with? I just,
because Mayer's more blues.
Yeah. Mayer's totally more of a blues artist, and I come from I traditionally come from that.
Right. Where would you?
Because my guitar playing, I'd say that I cut my teeth down in Austin, Texas, playing a bunch at South by Southwest. I got to watch Eric Tesmer, an amazing guitar player, down there, and that taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about tone and your approach on electric.
Yeah.
And then from there, I've always been obsessed with slide guitar, not realizing the influence of Hawaii and ours. Yeah. So I got so into blues and slide, I started studying this cat named Eric Sardinas, ended up becoming friends with Eric Sardinas, and Eric is now like someone that I look to as like a mentor. Yeah. And like still till today, from all the musical heroes that I have, he's sent me like the best message ever. And it's like this, like, I'd say like this long of a text message in blue on iPhone. And it was just everything that a musician needs to keep on going. Yeah. And like, so, and he comes from like, in the blues, you come from another guitar player, you come from the lineage. Yeah, you're always so he studied under B.B. King and Johnny Winter. It's like he comes from that, which kind of makes sense with my style of that heaviness on slide, but still my traditional sense of vibrato like a B.B. So it's like, but I just go, the blues, and then I went down that tangent of studying blues guitar so much, realizing it went back to Hawaiian slide guitar. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then I got so into bluegrass flat picking, then I started really digging into all of it, and the Dog and Tim, and then realizing that they have this dobro slide guitar in it, and that dobro guitar was just a louder version of what Hawaiian guitar was doing.
Which is a metal guitar.
Yeah, that metal slide guitar. Yeah. It all brought me back home to Hawaii. All of that music.
So if you had to go back, because that includes both, right? You have the slide steel and the acoustic. How do you play that live?
Well, I have a pedal steel player with me that will do the slide guitar parts for me.
Okay.
So that I can, because I play a lot. I'll play lap steel for some country cats, and I'm just now. It's like I feel like I get to sing my songs and tell my story, and some of the songs. Once we can get some of these main singles out, I'll start to get into playing some of that lap steel.
Yeah.
Because I'll be able to take another guitar player on the road with me, and then I can be on lap steel and sing.
I mean,
there's
not too many overnight success stories.
No.
Yeah, Chris Stapleton wins Best New Artist after 20 years of grinding,
Yeah.
It's like, so the only one I met was Noah Thompson, who won American Idol. And that was a true.
Yeah.
I interviewed him, and it was like he'd never been on a plane before.
Yeah, see, and that's amazing and that's his journey, and that's a wild one.
That's his journey, right?
That's like, of all the hurt and everything that I've gone through in the last like 14 years of doing music, actually you find yourself, it's like, sometimes that's still fresh clay. It makes you wonder where that'll be in 5 years.
Well, it's kind of like my crazy show, right? It's like there are people that start in 6 months and get 800,000 downloads or whatever, and you're like, I go, good for them. That didn't happen for my show, obviously. So you kind of just keep grinding.
Exactly. I mean, I think that's what Willie Nelson said, right? It's like if you fail at something long enough, eventually it becomes good or something.
Yeah.
It's like, I just think also, this is my mission.
It's just the path you're on.
Yeah, and there's truly another Luke Combs reference. It's like I'd still be doing this if I wasn't doing this.
Yeah.
It's like so. I'm just gonna do it now, except this time a little smarter, a little more, with my head, with the right head on, proper intentions, and absolutely no ego, and just 200% grateful. And I always say 200% nowadays because it's like publishing, songwriting, and publishing. 100%. So instead of saying 100, I always say 200 because it's like. In music, it is 200.
You said that to me, and I'm like, I kind of get that.
Yeah. Songwriting and publishing, 200.
Well, and songwriters can make more money than performers.
And and I am sitting on, maybe 5 different careers worth of songs that I've lived through, you know what I mean? And pop in all these genres. And so it's like, I just would love to get some of these songs out to the right artists so they can do them, because they're not my songs no more, personally speaking, of course. So I'm hoping to get in that songwriting game over there in Nashville, just get a proper publishing deal and start doing that. Cause I've always been a songwriter. I wrote my first song, I think, when I was like 5.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It's like songwriting has always come to me before learning the instrument. I've always heard it, melodies and the chords and all that. It's pretty wild.
Outside of country. And so who are some of your other influences that you haven't mentioned so far musically?
Muddy Waters is number 1. I have a cover of his out. I also was supposed to play slide guitar for his son, Mojo Waters, but he passed away from COVID. Ooh. So it was like, that was the closest I was going to get to Mojo.
Yeah.
And shout out to my homie Alan, the drummer, who was going to help me out on that gig. And, and they offered me that slot to play slide for Muddy's son before, but I couldn't take the tour because it wasn't enough money for me. And now I wish I did, and then I was going to take it, and then he passes away. So I just think it's God. Or
see, I'm in 2023. I'm doing yes modes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that, man. I'm saying yes to opportunities.
So now it's just yes, when it's, and I can afford it and I wish I did now. So, but I think I play a little differently because I didn't get that now. I push, and I think the things that don't happen for you in life make you a stronger version of what you were supposed to be then,
Absolutely.
So, Muddy Waters, number 1. Tony Rice. I think I said Bob Dylan already.
Yeah, you did.
Gabby Pahinui is like a huge influence of mine. Traditional Hawaiian, call him Pops. He actually took care of my grandma's sister. Was Mickey Lonnie Foe, and she was a lap steel player in the 30s and 40s. One of the first Hawaiian lap steel players. She won Arthur Godfrey's ukulele contest. They brought her to America, but essentially didn't realize she was brown and nullified the contract. And they said that she was playing out, and that's why they canceled it. It's not why. I have literal like depressed photos of her suing CBS in like the 40s or 50s.
Yeah, don't talk about that. No.
Yeah, it's wild, but it's like I have all this history. So like honestly, my aunt is a huge influence on me. My grandma's sister, because my grandma always said I had her hands. You know, my grandma's brother is a huge influence on me. My uncle Buddy Foe, he was on Capitol. He did a bunch of records back in the day. You know, but those things all influenced me. I think I sang about it. Tracy Chapman, songwriting is amazing. Steely Dan, I mean, session players for days. But it's like all this stuff really made me. The other thing that's huge, and I think someone I didn't talk about yet, is obviously Hank Sr. Like Hank Sr. is kind of like still till this day, the only country artist to make me flat out cry on a couch is Hank Sr.
Yeah.
Like, because I could relate to every single word in the truest form possible, which I don't know what that says about me. It's very sad, but yeah, Hank Sr. and come, you know, and then here's another full circle moment. I study lap steel from an amazing musician named Alan Akaka, who plays lap steel for all the Hawaiian greats. He studied under Jerry Bird. Jerry Bird recorded like 14 of Hank Sr.'s songs.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, so it's like there's our direct lineage. Jerry Bird actually also recorded for like Ernest Tubb, Kitty Wells, a bunch of people, and was too busy to keep on recording with Hank Sr., so they essentially got Don Helms too. You know, it's like that's the tie too, is that I come from the lineage of lap steel from Hank too. So it's like but I'm playing six string and singing because I want to sing my people's stories and my stories now, you know.
And you you go into the falsetto, right?
I do, because that's Hawaiian as it gets too.
Yeah.
You know, but I hit the falsetto.
You got the gravel, you got the regular voice, and then you drop into that falsetto.
And I also always just, you know, I thank church for this. I grew up singing and playing guitar in church, and in Hawaii, our church is more like some of the songs will turn into reggae. It's so rad, but it was singing streamlined from the heart, you know, from the Lord or something. And I think that's what also helps me tap into whatever voice needs to be.
I guess outside of Hawaii, what's the most influential place you've been to?
Honestly, what's wild for me to say this, but I would say Madrid, New Mexico.
Okay.
I
need to hear this one.
My buddy Charlie Overby, he actually has like a ranch out there. He's an amazing musician, amazing songwriter, and I play guitar in his band, and he has a ranch out there. And aside from being home in Hawaii, the only other place in the continental U.S. where I felt spiritually aligned with the universe and gods and even maybe my gods on this land was in New Mexico. I mean, the land is charged with the mana. I can't explain it other than mana is the mana of the people before. You know, it's like incredible. Like
Madrid.
Yeah, like it's just like New Mexico out in that in that land. It's just, I can't explain it. It's influential. It resets you like Kauai. It's insane. I love it there. I really think that's a beautiful spot. Yeah, it's just in the middle of nowhere, but you wake up and it's just look out in the yonder and you see just everything and nothing at once. Yeah. Kind of amazing.
Yeah, I'm always shocked when people tell me, because that's a question I like asking my guests. Yeah. Because, some people say Russia and you're like, what? Yeah.
Damn, that's cool.
But he said it wasn't the location, it was the people of Russia that made him that being the most influential, because it wasn't something he expected. Right. And the people just embraced him and loved him. And yeah, I mean, that's it. But you would never expect.
I mean, that's it. That's aloha too. Yeah. You wouldn't expect the level of aloha, but it was there. And that's how I feel about that land. But that land is also almost indigenous people's land too. Correct. So it makes sense as to why I really just appreciated the energy, the smell, the feel of the air. I don't know. It's everything.
This was a question I'm thinking of as we're going here. Do you still feel any racism towards being? I mean, I can't imagine it, but maybe. Yeah. Well,
actually, a lot. I mean, like, it's actually kind of ironic. It's pretty sad. I mean, Down in Huntington, my wife and I were like eating, and we were walking down the street, and there was this family, and the little girl goes, "Oh, mommy, he's brown and she's white," and the mom went, "Ew, I know." It's like, it's still prevalent. Like, people don't realize, like, oh, I live in Pasadena. I'm dressed like this. I walk down an aisle.
Yeah,
People
too.
will just simply grab their purse, just like, and hold it closer. It's like, lady, I don't need your purse.
Yeah, me too.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But it's like, people still act that way. I mean, I still get it where it's like, oh, you speak English so well. It's like, well, where did you think I was from?
Yeah.
I'm not, it wasn't and I'm not saying this to shake it up, but it's like, you realize, like, Hawaii wasn't America by choice. Like, so I'm speaking how I'm supposed to be speaking now. It's like, what did you expect me to sound like?
Yeah.
So it's there. The unfortunate, and I also, like, I've also, like, had it where, like, down south on tour, I'll have my buddy who's white drive through the border because it's easier. Yeah. It's just not worth it.
Well, the only time I ever got my ex-wife is Filipino, and so brown, white, and my daughter's from Mestiza.
Yeah.
And the only time I got stopped was when I had my daughter with me one time. We went down south. It was the only time. Like, where you coming from, this and that. Every other time it's just like this.
Yeah. And I've I mean, yeah, I mean, I've had it where when I was, like, younger with buddies out down south, and, like, we were kids, I mean, they'd literally rush me into the truck and hide me because, like, the good old boys truck with a Confederate flag the size of this wall was driving up the street with a red truck. They're like, "Bro, we gotta hide your brown friend." It's like, this shit's real. Like, people.
My daughter moved to Morristown, Tennessee.
No, yeah. See, I mean, like, that's also half of why I don't live down there.
And I had the talk with her. I'm like, it's real.
Yeah.
I go, it's you're brown.
Yeah.
I go, even though you're married to a white guy and your dad's half white, and
you may be partially light skinned.
Yeah.
I even had a really shitty roommate, excuse my language, one time in the morning when we were making coffee, and he said to me, like, well, there's, like, y'all and us. And I was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, there's, like, white people and then you guys, everything else. I was like, it's like, it took everything in me, the power of God, to not crank back and knock him in his job. But at the same time, it was just like, I was just flabbergasted. I lived with this person for like 2 years, and this is what you thought from the corner of the house. It was like, and it's there. It's right under your nose nowadays, and you don't even know it.
It's it's so much better than it used to be, though.
Oh, most definitely.
And I'll tell you why. I'm as white as it comes. I mean, I'm European, German, Irish. When I went to Tennessee, and I'm like, maybe, because you start talking. I have a friend that sells Western clothing, and he's white as he gets, and he gets discriminated as a Northerner.
Yeah.
And he's from Knoxville.
Yeah.
And he's not allowed to sell in Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, because he's a Northerner.
Yeah.
Being from Tennessee.
I know.
And so they literally won't let them sell. They're like, no, we don't need anything from you.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, that's what I also like. That's why it's like every community, I'm mixed in every way. Like, I have everything in me. I'm Native Hawaiian, Samoan, Tongan. I have it all.
Yeah.
Like, if you come up, probably not. I have the only white in me is English. I have like 10%, and everything else is mixed. And with that being said, it's like, I have family in every way. I've eaten all the different foods. I've spent time with everybody, and it's like, it's still here. I mean, it's just, I just don't get why people still act that way, because even we learned.
Well, I think it's cultural.
Most definitely.
I had a Hispanic friend I worked with, and this is, God, dude, I was 30 years ago. And we would go out to lunch and all that. And he goes, you're the first white person I've ever hung out with. He goes, growing up, I just hung out with all my friends. We're all Spanish, and that's my school was 90% Hispanic, and he goes, you're the first white person I've ever like hung out with. Yeah, and I'm like, wow, that's
awesome.
Both ways, right?
Yeah, it does, and I also think about that a lot, because growing up in Hawaii, some of my like greatest friends were like white kids growing up, and it's like, what people don't realize is, like, I think in Hawaii, we kind of got like reverse racism over there, because like,
you do.
White people get shit out there.
You do.
Yeah.
I can tell you a bit.
Yeah. Like people don't like actually realize, and I'm blessed to be Polynesian and born and raised Native Hawaiian and whatnot, and but the problem was, I used to get teased being younger and being like, oh, how come you like all those Holly things? How come you like that white boy shit? You know, it's like, but then 10 years later, they all got lip piercings and tattoos too. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I'm like, for me, I think what happens is ignorance will bite itself in the ass, and you just bite your tongue and keep your chin down and work your ass off, and it'll all work out.
I always take on the standpoint of back to the most basic need of treat others
exactly
how you want to be treated.
Exactly.
And if you treat me like crap, then I will treat you like crap. You treat me good, I'll
treat you damn good.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I agree, and I think down south in Hawaii has that
I've
thing
been
of
discriminated
respect.
against in Hawaii.
Yeah, and I'm sorry for the all that bullshit.
There are communities where you have to show that you have to show you're Hawaiian to live in.
Yeah, there's actual like
ancestral lands that you have to prove.
Yes.
Well,
Native
in
Hawaiian
some ways,
lands.
that's discriminatory, right?
I
Like
mean,
as a white person, if I want to move there, I should be able to move there.
Right. I guess in the sense that that's like the it's almost like res land. It's the only way I can explain it.
Yeah.
And the reason why there's such a fight for Native Hawaiians to have our land and to have land for Native Hawaiians only is truly because the American businessmen that nestled their way into the overthrow, which yesterday was like the 133 years anniversary of it.
Yeah.
Nestled their way in, and it wasn't. It was essentially like Hawaiians. We all had our own land, but technically it wasn't on paper that we owned it, and so that was the thing. They were able to exactly, and so that's why there is such a fight to have land, at least for Hawaiian descent and Hawaiian blood. And may I tell you that you actually have to be Hawaiian to get that.
Yeah, I know.
Like there is no like this family moved here this many years ago. They've been here for 40 years and now they're Hawaiian. And no, I mean, you're Native Hawaiian. Like I have like aunties like traced back and buried at the palace. We could have signed up for Hawaiian land, but my grandpa never did because I think my grandpa believed that there were other Hawaiians that needed the land more.
Right.
So it's like I go through that conversation a lot with people because people always want to go like, the word haole is racist. It's not racist, but the intention of that person that uses it, that becomes racist. And that's wrong. And that is not right. Because truthfully speaking, the word haole is ha, breath, aole, no. You don't have the breath of the islands.
Right.
It also can go down to like aloha, like ha is like breath or the, strength. And you do not live with that kind of strength. You don't perpetuate love. You don't perpetuate aloha. That's no breath. This became this whole blanketed statement of racism. I think through the years because people aren't using the word in the sense that it's supposed to be. I
asked.
It's so sad.
I had Dougie Hall on. He's a Native American Indian, as he calls himself, from the Blackfeet tribe in Montana.
Oh wow.
And
yeah.
So I asked him. I said, what's correct? I mean, I'm genuine. I don't want to offend anybody, but growing up, I grew up next to the Pueblo Indian Reservation in Arizona, and I used to play my football games on the res. There.
Oh wow!
So, but they were Indians, and he said, just like you just said, he said, if you say, "Oh, he's a really nice, he's Indian, he's super nice, and he's friendly," well, then intentionally, I don't get offended. But if you go, "Oh, you dirty Indian,"
there's a difference.
Now we're talking now.
Yes.
So.
Yeah,
but he said he does have some friends because his catchline is, "Hey, Dougie Hall, your favorite Indian." I'm here. That's how he starts his
totally.
Thing. But I'm like, he said he does have some friends that are really big into it's Native American, it's not Indian, blah blah blah. But he goes, for me, I don't care. But that's where it gets interesting for non-Native American, non-Indians. Like, but it's intentional. So how do you mean it?
Truthfully speaking, yes. I mean, and I also think like, yeah. I try to avoid anything, and that word truly should be used for the soulless, the soulless.
Exactly.
And I also tell people, white people are not haole either. I mean, it's not just white people that are haole in Hawaii. It's everybody that's not from Hawaii.
I got it.
That is the difference. Yeah. That is the difference that people have blanketed it. Man, that's wrong. You got it could be anybody from anywhere.
Japanese tourist
it could be anybody, anywhere. I mean, and I've even heard it where you're Hawaiian, you're Native Hawaiian, but you are acting like one haole. And it's not.
So it's a derogatory term.
In the sense of how you act as character, how you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is the truest form of
like that.
haole. And damn right, it's like, and I hate it when, that's why when homies go, oh yeah, I'm just a haole. I'm like, no, you're not.
No.
You have aloha. You live with love.
Yeah.
You have fought for me when no one else would, in a shitty southern town where I'm playing the music and they're cool with me 1 second, and as soon as I get off stage, they want to fucking fight me afterwards.
Yeah.
It's like, you've been there for me. You're not a haole. Don't ever call yourself that. You know what I mean? It's like, that's the difference. And I think if the world could just, that's simply like good or bad to me, Because
that's Ohana, right? I mean,
yes.
It's kind of.
Yes. Blood doesn't
matter. Exactly.
Yes. Because even in the royal sense of Hawaii, kings and queens, adopted kids here and there and helped out. You know what I mean? It was like same thing everywhere else, but it's like just because not blood technically, but
it's family.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I really firmly believe if you live with aloha and all of its glory, then you can't, how is one to be haole other than how you act?
I like what you said though. You can be Hawaiian and still be haole.
I mean, if you act that way, damn right. Yeah.
I don't get, like, I used to surf in Oxnard and people are like, oh my God. I'm like, because if you're not from Oxnard, you're not supposed to surf there. And I'm like, yeah, but if you treat people with respect and you're not, and that goes anywhere, right?
Yeah. I just like, when that comes to the surf, I mean, I skateboard too, but it's like I skate pools and stuff. And I think it's the same respect, right? It's like,
same deal.
Exactly. If you want to hit that wave, you better wait your turn.
Yeah.
And you might only get one ride the first day.
Yeah.
But you're lucky to get that ride because it's kind of like fishing. It don't mean you're going to get a fish. That's what I think surfing is.
Wherever you go, though. I mean, because like you, I've been to a lot of states, been to a couple different countries.
Yeah.
And I never have issues. But then again, I try to treat people with respect. Like I'm not the Californian that,
Yeah.
The best compliment I get when I work at the rodeo, you don't seem like you're from California.
Yeah, I know.
And I go, what does that mean?
Yeah. And that's that intention that I was telling you about, where people move to California acting like this falsified California.
Be, right?
And the sweetest people that you meet here in California, generational Californians.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
I love it. I think it's so funny. Like, I think we are actually changing history as we live, if we can perpetuate this love.
Yeah. And I think that's what's important about your music, because it's evolving, but yet you're sharing your story along the way. That's like with my show, it's the same way.
Yeah. And I'm so beyond grateful that you even asked me to get to, conversation and talk.
I've never had anybody perform, so this is going to be interesting.
Should we try it out?
Let's give it a shot.
Let me grab my guitar.
I'm going to try not to geek out on on listening up front. He's got to get out his guitar out of his Gibson case with the Hawaiian flag, and in case anyone wants to know who it's from, it says Kapali right on it. That's pretty fun though. Oh, this is a different guitar.
This is that guitar.
Yeah, it's that one, but it's not the one with the palm tree on it.
Oh no, yeah, it's not the one with the palm tree.
Yeah.
So that guitar actually lives in Hawaii now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that let me see. I'm sorry about that. So that I'm able to play.
That's a pretty guitar you got in your hands there.
This is my dream guitar. This is a Gibson J200. It truly is my dream guitar.
And wow, that's amazing though.
Gibson they don't make too many of those a year.
What other than Opry, what places would you like to play?
Honestly,
is there any place in LA that you kind of go, someday?
No. I played the one venue that I really wanted to play in LA was the Troubadour, and I've played it. I played it in the December before the pandemic.
Okay.
So, in theory, that should have been like our big show,
Yeah, it's right on. There you go.
But then the pandemic hit, so couldn't necessarily
As you're setting up, how did the pandemic affect the music business for you?
Well, I'm completely independent, so
Yeah.
I have to I do it all on my own. Honestly, the pandemic kind of it slowed me down more than I would have ever expected to have been slowed down. But it gave me 3 years of life I never would have had, I think.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like I got to spend a good chunk of months with my grandma.
Yeah.
You know, during certain times towards the end. I also missed a lot of time with them because of the pandemic. I didn't want to fly back to Hawaii with my grandma was fighting like stage 4 cancer, you know. Wasn't sure about it.
Well, because of the I don't know if people know, but the restrictions were pretty strict in Hawaii.
Oh, beyond.
Yeah.
Let me just get got my tuner with us. Gotta make sure they sound okay. What would you like to hear?
Whatever you want to play, my friend. You're the musician. I'm blown away right now.
Let's see. Well, we got my new single, Go Back, that just came out.
Let's hit Go Back.
Let's try it.
Are your fingers warmed up for that one?
I think so.
Because you get busy.
I get a little busy on that one. Let me see. I think it should be okay. I swear this sounds like one of my favorite songs. The type of song on the radio, the type everybody sings along. The type of song that reminds you of falling asleep in the back of a grandparent's car, dreaming of going somewhere far. We all wish we could go back now, but you've gotta be strong. We all wish we could go back now, but you've gotta move on. 'Cause the pain that we feel lets us know that we're real, that we've been living all along. We all wish we could go back now. We can't, so just keep on, keep on. So I dive deep into the melodies and memories of when I was young, listening to Steely Dan and Tracy Chapman songs. My mama used to take me to work backstage at an Eagle show, or it was 1999 and the Prince was singing all night long. We all wish we could go back now, but you've gotta be strong. We all wish we could go back now, but you've gotta move on. The pain that we feel lets us know that we're real, that we've been living all along. We all wish we could go back now, but we can't, so just keep on, keep on. Keeping on. We all wish we could go back now, but we've gotta be strong. We all wish we could go back now, but you've gotta move on. 'Cause It's the pain that we feel lets us know that we're real, that we've been living all along. We all wish we could go back now. We can't, so just keep on, keeping on.
Wow.
There we go. Let's go back.
Keep on keeping on, man. That's life, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
It truly is. You know, it started off as a song for my mom, ended up becoming a song for my grandparents and my family, and just the days of growing up with my mom on her back catching the bus. You know, it's like that was for my mom, and then all the times, you know, falling asleep in the back of your grandparents' car. I mean, shoot, you know, if you had a relationship with your grandparents, you remembered that moment, you know?
See, I never met my grandparents.
Oh, there you go.
I met my one grandfather for like a week.
That's amazing. I mean, this song is also then the dream, you know?
Yeah.
What could have, or
I
possibilities.
mean, even like I've lost both my parents now. So, you know, you sit there and you go, and I've lost my uncle and my aunt. So like, my father-in-law's passed away, my mother-in-law's still around, but I'm now becoming of that age of the old man. So it's interesting. Now, what is that? What do they call that?
That's a capo.
Capo.
You're gonna just kind of take it up a little
but
higher.
It's not the.
Oh yeah, it's not the Kaiser.
Yeah.
Like the clamp on. It's a little different.
So.
When you're talking about all this loss, maybe I'll play you one more song.
Okay.
If you it's a let's see. This is that song "One More Night" I was telling you about. So it's not out yet. It'll be out in a couple months. So you've got the Travel Winds exclusive.
There you go.
There you go.
Appreciate it, man. What before you start? What prevents you from releasing it sooner? Is it on purpose? Is it money? Is it timing?
It's all a mix of it all. You know, I next to like I just trying to get by to try to pay these incredulous bills out here in California, and then
or Hawaii.
Shoot, you know.
That's the same.
Yeah, truly. And
the two places you chose to live are the two most expensive.
Right. It's kind of insane. So lucky that I'm from one of them.
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, it's damn, just a crazy journey.
One more time.
So here's another song for that crazy journey, and this is it's for you. This is why I'm playing it.
Appreciate it, brother.
I feel you in the wind, and I see you in the trees. And when I was a baby, you used to rock me on one knee. And when I sit on y'all's porch, when the sun rises, I swear I can feel you beyond the horizon. But when I wake up, my heart breaks. Oh, with all the years that I could have stayed, and I know I could make it all right with just one. Wish I could sit in the kitchen with you one more time. Coffee shops just to stand in line. With you I'd relive all the bad times. Just for one more. Remember when I was 5, I scraped my knee. You picked me up, poured your loving on me. Oh, I wish we had more time, even one more night. Well, Christmas used to be my favorite time of year, but now that you're gone, it only brings me tears. And I'm looking at these pictures of you on my wall, and I bracelets from the hospital. And when I wake up, my heart re-breaks. Oh, with all the years that I could have stayed. And I know I could make it all right with just one. Wish I could sit in the kitchen with you one more time. Coffee shops just to stand in line. With you I'd relive all the bad times. Just for one more. Remember when I was 5, I scraped my knee. You picked me up, poured your loving on me. Oh, I wish we had more time. Even one more night. Even one more night. Well, the sounds of your pain replay and replay in my head. In my head. 'Cause in that hospital bed is where my heart was left. Wish I could sit in the kitchen with you one more time. DMV just to stand in line with you. I'd relive all the bad times. Oh, remember when I was 5, I scraped my knee and picked me up, poured your loving on me. And oh, I wish we had more time. Oh, and if I could, I'd go back in time just to be by your bedside. Oh, wish we had more time, even one more night. I see you in the wind, and I feel you in the trees. And when I was a baby, you used to rock me on one knee.
Wow. Wow.
That's talk about loss. That song's for you, your Ohana,
man.
and my grandma, and for all of you out there.
That's gonna be a hard one to sing.
I sing it. I've been singing it a bunch, so it's gotten a little easier. Yeah. It's but it helps. It helps me. This is the first song where I get to sing a little lower. You know. So. Yeah, that's as real as it gets. I think for me, that song is it was the change.
That's it. Yeah. You ever think at some point all the people that meant something to you growing up, that taught you how to play guitar and all that, at some point you're going to be that mentor for the next level. You're not going to be the young kid anymore. You're going to be the mentor. It's coming.
Oh, I can't wait. I truly can't wait. I've always enjoyed teaching music, but this part of the journey and helping, I think song craftsmanship is just everything, so.
Well, tell my listeners the best way to follow you. How do you like to be followed?
I guess follow me over on Instagram, KAPALILONG. You can also get me on Facebook. I have an official Facebook page with a lot of shows that I'm going to be doing. And then also KapaliLong.com is my main, and shoot me an email anytime. But follow me on all those platforms and Spotify. Spotify, all of the streaming platforms, I'm there. But that's where it'll be. Go Back is out now on Spotify and all streaming platforms too.
And then what's the next song?
Next song is going to be, the next song to release next is going to be a song called Before You Said I Do.
Okay.
Before You Said I Do. And then after that will be the song that I just played.
Nice.
One More Night. So One More Night should hopefully maybe be out in March.
Good times.
Yeah. And I'm trying to get out to Nashville in April to play, so hopefully,
Dude, I'll be there.
Oh, let's
I'm having my first granddaughter being born.
Oh my goodness.
The end of March. So
I'm told
not to come out then.
Okay.
So it'll be April.
Yeah. I guess I'll see you out there. We'll have to go hit a show then. We'll have to go to the Opry together. That'd be a fun one.
I'm going to dance in the circle, though. You'll be outside going, no.
Maybe I'll get to dance in it, too.
not when I'm with you.
Yeah. I'm praying. I'm praying for that. I think if there was one song that I would want to sing in this circle, it was the last song for my grandma.
That'd be
because that song belongs there for her.
Yeah.
There's something about it where it was just Just like this guitar was made for me, that song was made for that venue.
The islands on the pick guard.
Oh yeah, I got all of the islands right here.
Not all of them.
Not all of them. I mean, shoot, if that was the case, this thing would be covered.
No, but you're missing the ninth island.
Oh yeah. And then I got the islands right here.
Oh, I didn't see them out there.
That way, it's like if anyone needs to zoom in on me, either here or my hands, I got Hawaii.
Right there. Yeah.
Hawaii is always there, you know.
There you go.
So, hey, mahalo for having me. Truly is a blessing.
Mahalo for coming in, man. I appreciate it.
Hey,
aloha. Make sure to check them out. This is cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.